Welcome back to part 11 of our ongoing explainer series. Today, we're tackling something that is absolutely crucial to the financial health of your medical practice. When you're billing for telemedicine, telehealth modifier accuracy is literally the ultimate barrier between actually getting paid and facing just a massive mountain of claims rejections. Think about it. You can have absolutely perfect clinical documentation and the exact right CPT code, but if that modifier is wrong, no way. The claim stops dead in its tracks. So in this explainer, we are mastering the core telehealth modifiers so you can get back to coding with total confidence.
Okay, let's dive into this. It is incredibly frustrating, right? Seeing a well-documented, hard-earned patient encounter just get denied. But if you look closely at your denial reports, you'll usually spot a common culprit. Simply swapping a modifier, or maybe omitting one entirely, is a primary reason for unpaid telehealth claims. The payers, and we're looking especially at Medicare here, use these tiny two-character codes to understand exactly how the service was delivered. Was it over the phone? Was it on a video call? Was it happening in real time? Without the correct modifier, the payer's system simply cannot process the claim.
To fix this, we're going to organize these into two distinct buckets. First up, core synchronous modifiers. These are your everyday codes.
Now, synchronous simply means real-time interaction. It means the patient and the provider are communicating at the exact same time, just like a traditional office visit. And the absolute gold standard for this is Modifier 95. By definition, Modifier 95 is used for a synchronous telemedicine service rendered via a real-time interactive audio and video telecommunications system. I really want to highlight the strict requirement here. You absolutely must have both audio and video functioning in real time. If the video cuts out and you know the visit just continues over the phone, the requirements for 95 are no longer met. Also, just keep in mind, the specific CPT codes that apply for Modifier 95 are conveniently listed right in CPT Appendix P.
So what happens when you don't have video? Enter Modifier 93. This one is defined as a synchronous telemedicine service rendered via telephone or other real-time interactive audio-only telecommunications system. And this brilliantly illustrates the industry's shift to recognizing and properly reimbursing purely audio-only or telephone-based encounters. Because, let's face it, sometimes a patient doesn't have a smartphone, or maybe they just lack a stable internet connection. Modifier 93 allows providers to deliver and bill for crucial care using nothing but a standard telephone. For your reference, the applicable codes for this specific modifier are all listed in CPT Appendix T.
When you look at Modifier 95 for audio and video versus Modifier 93 for audio only, the contrast in your clinical documentation must be stark. You are constantly choosing between the two. And I want to remind all the coders and billers watching right now that Medicare requires absolute precision between an audio-video encounter and an audio-only one. The clinical documentation must explicitly state the modality used. If the doctor's note just says telehealth visit, well, an auditor isn't going to know whether to apply 95 or 93. You always have to ensure your provider's document whether that real-time visit was audio-video or strictly audio-only.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our second bucket, asynchronous and specialty modifiers. These are highly specific, niche scenarios.
We're going to quickly and precisely drill through these three specialty modifiers. Remember, asynchronous means the communication does not happen in real time. It's kind of like transmitting an image for later review. First up is Modifier GQ, used for asynchronous telecommunication systems. But pay special attention to the strict geographic limit here. GQ is designated specifically for use in Alaska and Hawaii only. Next is Modifier GT, which is for interactive audio and video telecommunication systems. And finally, we have Modifier Go. This one's super unique because it has a very specific clinical requirement. Go is used exclusively for telehealth services provided for the diagnosis, evaluation, or treatment of symptoms of an acute stroke. So it's a highly targeted modifier that alerts the payer to a critical, time-sensitive clinical scenario.
Okay, we've covered a lot of technical ground very quickly here. I want you to take a mental screenshot of this upcoming slide. We've synthesized all of these definitions and rules into the ultimate cheat sheet for your daily coding practice. So, the crucial point is that every single telehealth encounter must be precisely matched to its delivery method. Let's do a fast recap to lock this in. Use 95 for your standard real-time audio and video visits. Switch over to 93 if the visit was purely audio only over the telephone. If you're dealing with asynchronous data in Alaska or Hawaii, apply GQ. GT is another option for interactive audio and video depending on specific payer rules. And remember, GO is strictly reserved for acute stroke symptoms. Keep this unified, hyper-focused reference tool handy, and I promise you will prevent a lot of those frustrating claims rejections.
But hey,
Modifiers are really only half the battle. In Part 12 of this explainer series, we're going to tackle the other critical component of your claim, place of service codes. We'll be breaking down the exact difference between POS 02 and POS 10. Now you might be wondering, how does the patient's physical location, whether they're sitting safely at home versus located pretty much anywhere else, impact the facility and non-facility payment rates? It is a very nuanced detail, but it directly affects your bottom line. We'll map it all out next time.
As always, thank you so much for joining me to break down these complex coding rules into clear, actionable steps. Before your next shift, ask yourself, are you leaving your practice's hard-earned money on the table just because of a missing two-letter code? Keep your documentation sharp and your modifiers accurate. Decode Healthcare with Harshell.